Doctor Who is back in a month. Finally. Yep, that's right. After what feels like years of waiting, Doctor Who will finally return to our screens on Sunday the 7th of October. So with all this in mind, I thought in today's video I will share 11 hopes that I have for the new series. I don't expect all of these to come true, obviously, but I can dream nonetheless. So without further ado, let's begin. Number 1 is that I really hope the good old 13th Doctor is energetic and optimistic. A bit like the 11th Doctor, really. This is mainly to contrast the 12th Doctor, because as we all know, when he first started in Series 8, he was more cruel and a bit harsh and blunt, and I think it would just be a really good contrast to have a Doctor that's the opposite of that. But also, having a Doctor that's very optimistic and energetic and almost childlike, it will make the show more fun again. I think that's why loads of people stopped watching in Series 8, because a lot of people felt like they couldn't connect to the Doctor anymore, whereas having a very happy-go-lucky Doctor will be good for all the kids, good for all the adults as well, just to have this happy figure that has a joy for life. And it should just make the show really fun and enjoyable again, because you could argue in recent years the show has lost that quality. So judging from what we've seen in the trailers so far, well, the single trailer, it does seem like this first hope will be coming true. Number 2 is that I hope the new TARDIS interior is good. So as I'm sure all you guys already know, there was an issue last month where images of the new TARDIS interior leaked online. Even though I've been quite lucky so far not having the images spoilt for me, I have heard of people who have seen the images that they're not the biggest fan of what the new interior looks like, which is a shame, because I do feel like it's a big part of the show, and if you're not a fan of the TARDIS interior, that can not put you off the show really, but you're less excited by the travels, I could argue, because obviously this is the vessel for how all the adventures come about. And if you're not happy to see the inside of that TARDIS, you're not really going to enjoy all those scenes where the Doctor and his friends are picking where to travel to next. But anyway, yeah, so I just hope when the new TARDIS interior is properly revealed, it's actually good. And I should just quickly point out now, please don't spoil what the TARDIS interior looks like in the comments, because I'm sure there's loads of people who, just like me, have yet to see the pictures and would rather not know what the TARDIS looks like yet, so please be respectful. Number 3. This is a bit of a weird one, but it's a hope nonetheless. I would absolutely love it if, in the majority of the first episode of Series 11, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, because we now have a title, I would love it if the 13th Doctor could spend the adventure in the 12th Doctor's clothes. So quite a few pictures have already been released showing the 13th Doctor in the 12th Doctor's black coat or velvet coat. But that doesn't necessarily confirm that she'll be in it for most of the episode. I love seeing a new Doctor in the previous Doctor's outfit. It just feels so wrong, but right at the same time, because it's the same character after all. And yes, so I'd just love to see Jodie Whittaker in Peter Capaldi's costume for as much of the episode as possible. Number 4 is that I would absolutely love it if we could have a return to the educational historical stories that have been in the show before, mainly in the first Doctor's very first season, or actually his entire run. But even in the revival series, where you've got episodes like Vincent and the Doctor, the Shakespeare Code, the Unquiet Dead, I'm basically on about those episodes where the Doctor and co go back in time to a historical period and come across a historical figure. I'd absolutely love it if we could have that with Series 11. I won't spoil anything, but from what I've heard, rumours-wise, based on like filming pictures, and even in the trailer actually, someone deduced something, supposedly, it does seem like we are getting at least one story that will be like that this year. So, needless to say, I'm very excited about that. Number 5. I really want the new companions, or friends as we should now call them, to have suitable backstories. Not suitable, but backstories that we actually see to allow us to get to know them. So what I mean by this is we get to see where they're from, their home lives, who their family members are, their friends, basically how Russell T Davies did his era. Every single companion, we got to see their immediate family, which was a really good way for us to establish these characters as being real people, not fictional. And sure, Stephen Moffat started to do it himself with Bill Potts in his final series, but with Amy, Rory and Clara, we didn't really get much of that. I just really hope Chris Chibnall does actually give all these new characters loved ones and family members and friends that we see and allow us to connect with them better. Number 6. Talking about the companions or friends again, I really do hope that Yaz and Ryan don't have this like romantic subplot throughout the series, just because I think it's been done to death in Doctor Who. You've either got the Doctor and companion romance, or you've got it between the companions. And I just think it will be a good change to, for once, have a series where everyone in the TARDIS is just there as friends. A lot like Series 10 actually. Part of the reason I really liked that series was the Doctor, Bill and Nardole did not fancy each other at all. They were just there as good friends, just having a lot of fun. Number 7. I would like it if we don't see these guys in this series. Hopefully you can see that. No Daleks, basically. This is something I think Chris Chibnall confirmed at Comic-Con. I'll have to look into that. And if that's the case, I'm very happy with that, because I just think they need to be given another rest. We've seen them in every series since the show came back in 2005, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it is when the stories lose their quality because of it, and when the Daleks are given bad stories. Like, don't get me wrong, in Russell T Davies' era, I think the Dalek stories were so good. They were a good threat, they would actually exterminate people. But when it came to Stephen Moffat's run, you had episodes like Victory of the Daleks, where you had those stupid Power Rangers Daleks that were all different colours. I'll go on a rant about them, so I'll just stop talking about that episode now. What I'm getting at is, at the moment, for me at least, it's no longer exciting to see the Daleks anymore. And I think in order to have that fear factor and excitement when you see them, you need to give them a couple of years off, so that you can think of a good story for them to make them a true threat again. So, basically, bye-bye to these guys. Number 8. I would be thrilled if Chris Chibnall's scariest monster idea appears in Series 11. So you may be a bit confused by this one, so please allow me to clarify. I think it was around the time that Series 7 of Doctor Who was on. In one of the many interviews Stephen Moffat gave, he mentioned in passing that I think it was Dinosaurs on a Spaceship was originally going to have what he called the scariest monster ever, and this came from the mind of Chris Chibnall, apparently. And the only reason we didn't get that was because it would have cost the production crew an absolute fortune. So in the end, we got Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, which was still one of the most expensive episodes ever made, but never mind that. So ever since I saw this interview, I was intrigued to find out what this creature was. To have Stephen Moffat, of all people, saying, yep, this is scarier than the Weeping Angels, the Silence, the gas mask zombies. For him to say that this monster, whatever it was scarier than that, it must be up there on the scareometer. And obviously since then, I don't think Chris Chibnall has written any episodes for the show, so we are yet to see it. And hopefully, Series 11 is when we'll finally get to find out what it was. Number 9 is that I really hope Series 11 has a vast variety of new creatures in it, with unique traits and abilities. Again, this is something that I think has more or less been confirmed from the various interviews that Chris Chibnall has given at Comic-Con and since then, really. I think he's generally saying there won't be many returning monsters this year. Instead, it's going to be all new ones. So hopefully I'll get my wish with this. Number 10. I really want the series to surprise me at some point. Maybe it's a shocking event that happens to the Doctor or one of her friends, or maybe it's a returning character or monster that hasn't already been announced. I just want to have that thrill where something hasn't been spoilt beforehand and I experience it for the first time in the show and it just blows my mind, because it has been so long since I've had that thrill. And I'll moan about this for the rest of my life, really, but I was so upset when John Sims' return was leaked, because having seen his return in World Enough and Time, you could tell that they'd filmed it and written it in a way that you weren't meant to find out until the mask was pulled back. But obviously no one was excited by that, because they all knew he was coming back. So this is why I'm really glad that for the most part Series 11 has been kept under wraps, because hopefully it will mean any surprises that are in store will be surprising. And finally, number 11, there we go, got that right, is that I just really hope the series gets high ratings. As we all know, this series has a huge amount of pressure on it, because we have the first ever female Doctor, we've got a whole new production crew, there's every chance it could fail, basically, and unfortunately, not a huge proportion of the fan base, but a lot of people do want this new series to fail because of the first female Doctor, because they think it's all PC gone mad and all that, but I won't get into it. And so it'll just be really nice to prove that a female Doctor can work, and that Chris Chibnall can be a great showrunner and the cast can be successful in their roles. And yeah, it's just nice when Doctor Who becomes event television, and it's been a very long time since I felt like the show has been event TV. And obviously, as we all know, with Peter Capaldi's series, unfortunately the ratings were going down, so it'll be nice to just have a complete opposite of that and have everyone talking about Doctor Who again, because they should be, because it's an absolutely incredible show and I want everyone to watch it. So there we go, there's 11 things that I'm hoping happen in Series 11 of Doctor Who. There's no guarantee, obviously, that they'll all occur, but I like to think some of these will happen at least, just purely based on the trailers and interviews that we've seen so far. Please do let me know in the comments what you're hoping for from the new series, and please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. I shall see you guys next time.